Imagine starting life with almost nothing, no connections, no safety net, just $100 in your pocket, and the pressure of feeding your family. Now imagine turning that $100 into an empire so powerful, so vast, that you reshape an entire nation. You crush your rivals. You dominate entire industries. And you become richer than almost every king who ever lived. This is the true story of the man who took over America starting with only $100. His name was Cornelius Vanderbilt. But history calls him something else. The Commodore, the man who bent America's economy to his will and built a dynasty worth more than $200 billion in today's money. Cornelius Vanderbilt was born in 1794 on Staten Island, a place that back then wasn't the wealthy suburb it is today. It was rough, rural, and brutally poor. His parents were barely surviving. His father was a ferry operator, but not the glamorous kind. He carried cargo across New York Harbor in a small, unstable boat, often drunk, often broke. His mother was the backbone of the family, strict, disciplined, and fiercely pragmatic. By the age of 11, Cornelius had already dropped out of school, not because he wanted to, but because he was needed. He worked the fields. He hauled cargo. He chopped wood. He wasn't getting an education. He was getting hardened. He was big, strong, ambitious, but he had one major flaw. He couldn't sit still. Teachers called him unmanageable. Neighbors called him wild. But his mother saw something different. She saw a fire, and she struck a deal with him. If you want a future, earn it. That moment planted the seed, not for a career, not for a business, but for an empire. At 16 years old, Cornelius asked his mother for a loan, not for food, not for a house, not for survival, but to buy a boat, a small sailing vessel for transporting passengers and goods across Staten Island and Manhattan. The price? $100, around $2,500 today, but for a poor family in 1810, it was a fortune. It was life-changing money. His mother hesitated, but she agreed. On one condition, you return every cent. Cornelius took the money and instantly put it at risk. And this is where the legend begins. From day one, Cornelius did things differently. Other ferrymen operated during normal hours. Cornelius operated all night. Other ferrymen followed a schedule. Cornelius chased customers. Other ferrymen complained about storms. Cornelius sailed straight into them. He became known for three things. 1. He was fast. He raced other boats, often risking his life. 2. He was reliable. If he said he would deliver, he delivered, even if he had to row through a hurricane. 3. He was ruthless. If a competitor lowered prices, Vanderbilt lowered them further, sometimes to zero. This move terrified his rivals. He wasn't just a ferryman. He was a force of nature. But what Cornelius didn't know was that his ambition had just attracted the attention of someone much bigger. By the time Cornelius was 23, he wasn't a small-time boat operator anymore. He was different, sharper, tougher, hungrier. That's when he met Thomas Gibbons, a wealthy businessman locked in a brutal transportation war with one of the most powerful families in America. Gibbons saw Vanderbilt's talent instantly. You're fast, fearless, and impossible to take down. Work for me. Cornelius accepted the offer, and it changed everything. For the next 12 years, Vanderbilt became the iron fist in Gibbons's fight for dominance. He ran steamboats. He learned business strategy. He studied law cases. He absorbed everything. Most importantly, he learned how to destroy monopolies. This period shaped him into something America had never seen before. A businessman who could navigate courts, crush competition, and expand faster than anyone could stop him. By the time Gibbons died, Vanderbilt had built something more valuable than ships, a reputation as the most dangerous entrepreneur in America. Back then, New York's waterways were controlled by an elite family monopoly, the Livingston-Fulton Steamboat Empire. They had government-backed licenses. They blocked rivals. They sued anyone who dared compete. They controlled commerce. They controlled prices. They controlled everything. But Cornelius Vanderbilt didn't care who they were. He challenged them head-on. Gibbons, using Vanderbilt as his weapon, sued the monopoly all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. The result? The monopoly was destroyed. The Supreme Court ruled that states could not block interstate commerce. This decision reshaped American business forever. And at the center of this seismic shift was a 30-year-old former farm boy who started with $100. Vanderbilt became a hero to the common man and a threat to the elite. But this was only the beginning. With the monopoly crushed, the industry exploded. New routes, new customers, new fortunes. And nobody moved faster than Vanderbilt. He launched his own fleet, the Vanderbilt Steamboat Company. He slashed prices so low that competitors sometimes left the industry entirely. He was a master of psychological warfare. He made his boats sleek and fast. He treated passengers better than anyone else. He mastered negotiations, often intimidating rivals into submission. Within a decade, he controlled the fastest ships, the biggest routes, the cheapest fares, the highest profit margins. This is when newspapers began calling him the Commodore, a title normally reserved for naval leaders. But Vanderbilt wasn't just a businessman now. He was becoming something much larger, a national power, a king of commerce, an unstoppable force. And then, he shocked everyone. In 1849, America discovered gold. Hundreds of thousands rushed to California, but the only way to reach it was by sea. Ship tickets were scarce. Prices skyrocketed. People waited months. Vanderbilt saw an opportunity worth millions. He launched a new route, faster, smoother, smarter. He cut the travel time from New York to California by 20 days. Competitors mocked him. They said it was impossible. They said he'd lose everything. Instead, he made $1 million in his first year, the modern equivalent of $35 million. He dominated the entire route. He became so wealthy that he did something unthinkable. He gave his customers $600,000 back. Why? Because his competitors tried to destroy him, and he wanted the public on his side. It worked. People loved him. This era turned Vanderbilt from a great entrepreneur into a legend. In 1861, the U.S. Civil War began. Vanderbilt, now one of the richest men in America, offered his largest steamship, the USS Vanderbilt, to the Union Navy for free. The ship hunted Confederate raiders and became a critical asset, but the war disrupted trade. Shipping revenue dropped. Competitors panicked. Many thought Vanderbilt was finished. They were wrong. He was about to make the boldest move of his life, one that would reshape America permanently. At 70 years old, when most people slow down, Vanderbilt declared war on an entirely new industry, railroads. This wasn't an expansion. This wasn't diversification. This was conquest. He bought controlling shares in the New York and Harlem Railroad. Old money elites laughed. A boatman thinks he can run railroads? Then Vanderbilt crushed them. He drove out corrupt managers. He modernized the system. He reorganized routes. The stock price soared. Then he moved to the biggest prize, the Hudson River Railroad. When owners tried to block him, Vanderbilt did what he always did. He outmaneuvered them, legally, strategically, financially. Next came the ultimate prize, the New York Central Railroad, one of the most important transportation networks in America. He took it, integrated it, expanded it, dominated it. By combining his railroads, Vanderbilt created the first true transportation empire in U.S. history. He controlled the movement of people, coal, Steel, mail, food, raw materials, entire industries. If his ships shade, his railroads controlled the heart of America. This wasn't just business anymore. Vanderbilt was now shaping the United States itself. In 1868, Vanderbilt entered a financial war so massive it nearly collapsed the American economy. Two rivals, Jay Gould and James Fisk, attempted to steal the Erie Railroad from Vanderbilt. They printed fake shares. They bribed judges. They used political corruption. They manipulated stock prices. Vanderbilt didn't back down. He bought every share available, only to discover that half of them were counterfeit. He demanded justice. He sued. He forced hearings. He exposed corruption. And even though he didn't win the Erie Railroad, he got something far more valuable: the respect and fear of Wall Street. Vanderbilt hated inefficiency. He hated chaos. He hated wasted time. So he built something monumental: Grand Central Depot, the ancestor of today's Grand Central Terminal. It was the largest train station in the world, a symbol of American power, and a monument to Vanderbilt's legacy. He didn't just build railroads. He built cities. Entire neighborhoods in Manhattan grew around his tracks. Commerce flourished. Trade expanded. America connected like never before. By the 1870s, Vanderbilt was old, but still sharp. He doubled his fortune during his 70s. He expanded his railroads from Chicago to New York. He became a national icon. But behind the empire was a simple truth. He had built everything from nothing. No inheritance, no privilege, just $100. And relentless will. Cornelius Vanderbilt died in 1877. His net worth? $105 million. Equivalent to over $200 billion today. One of the highest personal fortunes in history. His dynasty would go on to build universities, mansions, and financial institutions. But the story of the man himself? That's the real legacy. Cornelius Vanderbilt wasn't lucky. He wasn't born rich. He didn't inherit power. Here's what he did have. 1. Relentless work ethic, 16-hour days. No excuses. No shortcuts. 2. Obsession with efficiency. Ships must be fast. Routes must be optimized. Delays were unacceptable. 3. Brutal competitiveness. He cut prices until rivals collapsed, and he bought them cheap. 4. Perfect timing. He dominated steamboats just as America industrialized, then switched to railroads at the perfect moment. 5. Fearless risk-taking. Storms, lawsuits, monopolies. He didn't care. He was built for conflict, built for growth, built for domination. Cornelius Vanderbilt didn't just conquer industries. He reshaped the entire American economy. Before Vanderbilt, travel was slow, commerce was fragmented, monopolies controlled everything. After Vanderbilt, shipping was faster and cheaper. Railroads connected the nation. Competition exploded. Prices dropped for ordinary people. He didn't just build businesses. He built the foundation of modern America. Cornelius Vanderbilt's story isn't just about wealth. It's about ambition, discipline, fearlessness, a refusal to quit. He didn't become powerful because of privilege. He became powerful because he never accepted limits. So the next time someone tells you success is impossible, remember this. A boy with no education took over America, starting with only $100. Not because he had money, but because he had drive. This is the story of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the man who conquered America with $100. If you enjoyed this story of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the man who took over America starting with only $100, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more incredible financial and historical stories, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an epic tale like this. Also, comment below. If you had $100 today, how would you try to turn it into an empire? We want to hear your ideas.